I'm here with Freeze the Fall to talk a little bit about the Red Garden EP that comes out June 18th. First of all, I want to welcome these fellow Canucks to the channel. Thank you very much for taking the time all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast to all the way around the world. So thank you very much for taking the time. How are you guys doing?
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's my pleasure, my pleasure. So let's start off by talking a little bit about the band. Before even we talk about the songs, the videos, there's quite a bit to talk about. Let's talk about the band. How did, what is your origin story? If you guys were a Marvel, in the Marvel universe, they have the origin story. So if you guys were
Okay.
part of that Marvel universe,
All
what
right.
would be your origin story?
I don't know if our origin story is
It's not that
Marvel
cool.
movie worthy, but so basically what happened is Aria and I, we went to the same middle school and we would always see each other like just passing in the hallways. We didn't know each other, but we'd always kind of like notice like, oh, that's a cool like band t-shirt. I know that band, that type of thing. And so finally on one of the last days of school, which would have been my last day at that school because I'm a year above, we finally were like, hey, we need to talk. So I went up to her and I was like, hey, I think you're really cool and do you want to like jam and stuff? And then
And then we did. And then about a month later, through a friend of a friend, I connected to Jonah. My mom was friends with this local artist who Jonah would play with sometimes. And so I went to go see him at a solo gig and then was like, hey, I know this guitarist.
Yeah.
And then we started a band.
which I wasn't there for it, but I've heard it was like the most
It was
awkward,
so
the most awkward meeting of all time.
Like,
Yeah.
we should like jam or something. And then I left.
Yeah, it was like a
Like,
2 second first meeting.
good job.
But after that, we had our first practice and then everything was all good. It was no awkwardness anymore once we started going. So, yeah.
So when you guys got all together and started jamming, even before that, did you guys talk about what kind of music you're gonna make? Like, I'm into this, you're into that. Like, was there any of that even discussed before you guys sat down and start kind of like hammering some stuff out?
I remember we had a group chat that we made before we even like all met in person, because the first time we all met in person would have been that first band practice. But I remember before that, I remember we were like talking about like, oh, well, what bands do you like?
I
And like,
remember I was like, before we had like a group chat, I texted you and I was like, should I ask him what kind of music he likes?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Then
Yeah, so I remember us talking about like music taste early on. I don't
Oh, wait,
remember us
yeah.
talking about like what type of music we wanted to write.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it kind of just happened.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we had like picked some cover songs initially, and that's how we started playing the first like
Ooh, what cover
practice.
songs? What cover songs did you guys do?
Oh, we had Happy Song by Bring Me the Horizon. And So It Went by the Pretty Reckless.
Mhm.
The Pretender, was that one of the first ones?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we had a handful of covers like that. And I remember once we like after we had finished maybe like say like 4 or 5 covers after we had done those, then I think we were like, okay, like should we write now? And I don't think there was a lot of like thinking and talking about it beforehand. I
No.
think it was more just like, okay, well like all of us want to write music, so let's just like write music,
Yeah.
you know? So it happened very naturally.
But wanting
Yeah.
to write music and writing music are two very different things. It's like me wanting to do brain surgery and actually being able to do it. It's very two very different things. So, do you
Yeah.
guys have any musical background that really helped you guys in that development of your own music? Because one thing is to do covers, the other thing is to start writing your own stuff.
I think probably a varied answer for each person a little bit. Do
I
you want
think
to
so.
talk about that?
Yeah, for me, where I got most of my writing inspiration in the early days was this certain bass teacher I had, the very first one I had. He was very helpful in like learning how to write music and making theory interesting to learn because sometimes it can be really like overwhelming. But he made it really cool and helped me a lot with learning how to write.
Mhm. Yeah, for me, I've been playing drums for a long time, and my teacher had a big focus on like song structure, and we also had a big focus on like playing songs and sight reading and stuff. So I was very used to like what songs sound like, I guess. So I was able to like picture how the dynamics of the drums would go for like when we first started out writing. So I think that really helped.
Yeah, I was self-taught for like the songwriting part of it because it was during the pandemic. It was during quarantine. I was like, I'm going to teach myself guitar and I want to write music. So that's basically what I was working on for like basically all of quarantine. So I had that. Lots of just sitting and writing, just like by myself. So
Mm.
that was kind of my background in creating music before meeting them.
There was a lot of time available at that time period
Yeah.
to
Yes.
learn something. I should have done what you did and learn an instrument. Instead, I played video games.
Well, no, you know what I was gonna say is like I didn't have a phone at that time, and if I did have my phone, I would have just been on my phone the entire time. So I'm very grateful that I didn't have my phone
There
and I
you go.
could just listen to music and write music and stuff. So it all worked out perfectly.
Yeah, the band would have been very different had that had happened. I really like your sound. It's very difficult for me to put a name under it or find a genre that will fit because every song has a very distinct uniqueness to them. But I love the emotion that they all have, regardless of what the sound brings. They all feel like very close to your hearts. That really transmits really well through the music, through the vocals, through the sound, through everything. Do you guys write about your personal experience? Are these songs your very own takes on what you see and what's around you?
Yeah, it definitely depends. I think a lot of the songs are based on personal experience, but sometimes exaggerated and like
Yeah.
built so that it's like it's a personal experience, but it's also something that a lot of people experience or could experience, you know?
Yeah, I'd say we usually start by like one of us like will have like some sort of personal experience, like he said, but then we write about it in a way that's very universal. So it's not
Yeah.
like I did this and then I did this and then I did this. It's like, okay, this happened to me, but if I take a step back and look at it from like an outside perspective almost, it's like, how can we make this be a bigger thing that like everybody can kind of relate to and we can talk about it in a bit more of like a vague
Yeah.
sense while it still makes sense, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I really got that vibe. And do you guys all three work together on the songs, or do you guys have specific roles where you bring this to the table, I bring this to the table, and then we kind of try to make all the pieces fit together? How does it work?
Yeah, we're all very collaborative when it comes to writing. All of us do lyrics and we all work very closely together when it comes to it. There's not like a specific formula that we have anymore. Sometimes it's an idea, sometimes it's an aesthetic, sometimes it's like a riff or a drum piece or a whole chorus. Like it really just depends on the song. But yeah, it changes for the song for sure, but it's very collaborative.
Mhm.
So let's talk a little bit about the upcoming record. But first, we have to look at the previous, well, the upcoming EP, but first we have to look at the previous one. Thrones came out last year, July, I believe, of last year. Now
Yeah.
you guys are releasing a brand new EP this year. Why another EP and why not perhaps a full-length record?
Yeah, so since we're still like pretty new as a band, and since like we've only had like our fan base for just like a short amount of time, like that we've known all these people, we figured it wouldn't make sense to, drop Thrones and start building the fan base and then just like leave for a year and a bit to like write a full length, you know what I mean? Because it would be harder to like we would just stop dropping music for a while because it takes a lot longer, of course,
Mhm.
to
And the
write a full length.
momentum would, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
all the momentum we had built during Thrones would kind of just like fade, you know? Plus it gives us more time to like kind of experiment with things and to like,
Mhm.
just to write more. So
Exactly.
yeah, so we decided to make another EP, but we are currently writing our first full length. So
Yeah.
Ooh, exciting times.
yeah.
And also with the second EP release, it'll build up our live set list much quicker than if we were to spend the time to create a full length so that we can play bigger shows because they'll be like, these guys have more music out than if we spent more time to write more music, basically.
Absolutely.
And that actually brings me to my next question because you're singing and playing guitar, Quinn. So, how is it for you? Because one thing is you guys jamming together, and the other thing is performing in front of people when you have to play and sing at the same time. How you were adapting to that, and how do these guys help you with that?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if we've gotten that question
I
Yeah.
before.
don't think so, no.
For me, once I like, for example, for any of the Thrones songs, it kind of feels like playing one instrument at this point because I don't have to like it's I just am kind of like on autopilot, if that makes sense. I don't have to be like, okay, I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this. So once it gets to that point, then it's pretty, I guess, easy or simple or whatever. But our process of once we come out of the studio and we start rehearsing these like the new versions of these songs, usually they'll play their instruments and then I'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna sing for this one. And we'll run through it a few times where I'm just singing. And then we'll do the same thing, but I'm just playing guitar. And then maybe the next practice, I'll do both of them together. If that answers the question, that's kind of how we approach that.
Yeah, and I was wondering bass wise, do you when you're playing live, do you come in with the bass a little bit to fill in on certain areas where perhaps on the record that there's more of a guitar, a thicker guitar sound? Do you guys take that approach live? Have you ever
Um,
thought about it?
I don't think so, no. I pretty much play the bass parts how they are on the record, but yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Oh.
and her bass parts are pretty full already. Like there's a lot going on to them. So
Yeah, just out of curiosity, because it's really the songs have so much in them musically. They're just really cool songs, well put together. By the way, the moment I started listening, I listened to Thrones and I listened to the new EP. Uh, it didn't take me more than like 5 seconds into one song to see how talented you guys are. And I'm not just saying that because we're chatting here. I was really blown away by how good you guys are. Like really good, really good. So
thank
Thank you.
let
you
me
Thank
just
you.
so
say
much.
this. Let me just say this off the bat. When you guys win a Juno, just remember this old guy in Toronto and try to at the very least give me a shout out. So because I think honestly, the sky is the limit for you guys. There's a ton of talent between the three of you. And I just the reason I asked that question about the bass is because I see that with a lot of bands that as you evolve as a band and the songs start to become a little bit more intricate, when you go live, you almost miss two guitars and only having one guitar. So that's why I was wondering if you thought about like the bass kind of come in and fill in for that second guitar because there's no second guitar. So that's where that question was coming from.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
you guys are incredible. So if, like I said, I have a hard time putting your music under one single umbrella. When people meet you guys and you say, "Oh, we're in a band," and they ask, "Okay, what kind of band?" How do you tell them what kind of band you are?
That's
Oh,
another
it's
new question.
Yeah.
I I find it very sweet when people ask like what type of like music do you make and whatever, because obviously they need to like understand, but I'm like it's such a difficult question to answer. I usually just keep it nice and simple and I'm like we're a hard rock band and then I'm like if you want then I like point them in the direction of like oh there's this music video or whatever because I have a hard time explaining it because like you were saying I think every song kind of carries its own energy and all of them very much sound like us, but they all have like their own type of flavor. And there's definitely a lot of inspirations that are coming together to create these songs. So I don't know if I could like create one umbrella term to be like, this is what our music is. But if we figure it out, we'll tell you.
Yeah, please do because when I got the promotion for the EP and you guys were labeled as a hard rock band, and then I started listening to the music and I'm like, I don't see a hard rock band here. I see something completely different here. I see Nirvana if Nirvana was getting together in 2025. Do you know what I mean? Because if you listen to
Thank you.
Nirvana,
Thank you.
any single record of them, no song sounds alike. Everything sounds different. And then if you go from record to record, they all sound different as well. So I kind of saw you guys more from that angle that it's really hard to put a finger on it, but that's really cool at the same time because you're not going to be pigeonholed as far as writing songs that you have to write songs that fit whatever that mold is. But I think calling yourselves hard rock doesn't really paint the picture. You guys are way more than just a hard rock band, at least in my opinion. And I have to ask you about VHS. I saw the music video. Man, I was blown away. I'm a huge horror fan. So talking about the video even before we talk about the music, whose idea was it to go down this Ice Nine Kills road?
Ice Nine. Thank you. Their videos are amazing. That's what I do.
I just saw them a couple of days ago with opening for Metallica.
Oh, that's
Mm.
nice.
Aria, you went to see that too.
I did, yeah.
That's
That's
sick.
dear.
That's awesome. Shoot, how did we
So Evan.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we were like, yo, we all like horror movies and we like heavy music. So what if we get a song that's got both? And then our like music video director Evan, we were talking with him and he kind of had this idea about this serial killer that was kidnapping all of us and like turning us into this perfect band. And we thought that that was amazing and the idea like really came to life in the video. It was so cool.
Yeah, and if I could add on to that, when we were first writing this, it was before we had decided that this EP was going to be a concept. So we were just writing the song as a song. We hadn't connected it to anything. But I remember when we were writing it inspired by a horror movie called The Poughkeepsie Tapes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so that was the first time that we had done that, where we were like kind of like loosely like taking some like movies and some stuff we had seen, and just like writing a song about that type of thing. Um, so we always kind of knew that we wanted a really like heavy storytelling video for it. And oh no, there's one more thing I was gonna say about what you were saying. Oh no. Oh yes. So then the storyline that Evan ended up coming up with alongside us, it was very tied in with the theme of the song and what the actual message was, because ultimately that song is about power and it's about people who take advantage of that power. And so he kind of showed us that that could be reflected in the form of that serial killer who was like creating this band to be what he wanted it to be. So,
Yeah, I love the whole puppet thing with the strings and stuff. I thought that was
Mhm.
like super. I mean, the whole video is really cool. The song is phenomenal, and the video really paints a full picture. Considering how good that video is, and considering how good that song is, and that whole concept, is that something you guys would look into in the future, working off of an idea that already exists, either be a movie or a book or something like that, and incorporate that into your music?
Definitely. We take inspiration from like everything. It's not just like other bands that we like. And that's the newer thing. We've really been learning how to do that recently, taking inspiration from a lot of things, and it's been really cool. So we'll definitely be doing that more in the future.
Mhm.
You know, just looking at you guys here, I can tell that you guys all have very unique personalities. So when you're putting your music together, what part of each of your personalities better comes through in the music that you create?
oh,
Damn.
I have to think about that one.
Damn. Okay, okay.
I came prepared, as you guys can tell.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
right. So when we're writing, what piece of our personality do we like
Yeah,
see?
because after listening to you guys, after listening to both EPs, after watching all the videos, I don't think I know you well. Like, so I don't think you're giving me everything of who you are as a person, but I think you're giving us some hints of who you are in your music. I'm just wondering what parts of yourself are you comfortable enough to let people get to know, and which parts of yourself you rather just keep it to yourself.
Right. Well, I think something that's universal for the three of us is all of us are very like introverted people. And so I think we've gotten to this place where when we're writing music, we can kind of just say like anything and kind of like express anything that we need to. And so I think when we create music videos and when we create music and all of that, it's kind of just like that other side of us, I guess, because we're more reserved in like I guess like social settings and public settings.
For sure.
So I think that's kind of the time to just like actually like kind of put it all out on the table and being like, this is what I want to say and this is what I want to create. I don't know if you guys would agree with that,
Preach,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
100%. I think another thing would for me, I don't know about you guys, but it's definitely I see like my creativity come out in music because I feel like school a lot of the times kind of like dulls that down and like kind of has your other half your brain thinking, but when I get to use that other half for writing drums or especially like writing lyrics and getting like concepts out into words, I think that I really see like my creative side shine.
It's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. What you guys are doing. I have to ask you about the EP. So the EP comes out June 18th. Any plans to do like a release party, playing some shows? Like what do you guys have in store?
Yeah, so June 27th, we have our EP release party in Vancouver. And then other shows on August 9th, we're playing a festival called Lake Town. I'm kind of going in backwards order here. And then May 17th, we're playing a show in Vancouver. And June 14th, we're playing in Toronto.
What?
Um,
Say that again. Let me write this
sorry,
down.
that was too fast.
no, because he's in Toronto.
Oh,
I'm in
So
Toronto. So when is that
yes,
happening?
June 14th.
June 14th. You guys are playing in Toronto?
Yeah.
yes. We've never
Okay,
played outside of the province before, so
I'll
this
be
will
there.
Yeah, we
June
have to like
14th. Oh, I can be there. Oh, God damn it. I'm going to Iceland.
Oh. Well,
Oh
what
man,
you
Oh,
know what
fun.
that's cool
though?
though.
We will definitely see each other at some
I'm
point.
bummed out
I
now. Like
said,
I just got so excited. I just got this massive high, and then I just crashed. I just
Oh
crashed.
well,
no.
Iceland is pretty awesome, you know?
Yeah.
And we will definitely, I'm sure, like go to
We'll be back.
Toronto a
Oh,
million
this is
times.
a bummer. Like I'm flying out on the 12th, and I get back to Toronto on the 15th because June 13th is a
Damn.
Friday, isn't it? I believe it's a Friday. So yeah, and I come back on Sunday. Oh man, you guys are playing the Saturday.
So
That's
We will see
unfortunate
each other.
timing, but
It'll just make it even better when
it
we
will.
can actually
exactly.
meet
I
and
hope
when
you
you
guys come back soon. I hope you guys come back the next year or something like that. And I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
you guys are a young band, a young group. How does it feel to be in this music business, which is a very cutthroat kind of business? I don't know if you guys have realized that yet or not, but it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
But it is. So how are you guys kind of dealing with that?
I think that we're just making sure that we make really good connections and we know who not to work with and who to work with, just like staying connected with those good people that you know you can trust. So
And
just
yeah, sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we're absolutely surrounded by a wonderful support system as well. You know, like our parents are involved and stuff, but it's not overbearing. It's not our parents who are like, yeah, well, this is our band and we're gonna tell you what to do. It's more just like they're kind of there in the background to support us and to help us when we are making those connections to help like make decisions and that type of thing. But they're always like, at the end of the day, it is your decision, not ours. So
For
What
sure.
about your friends? How much hate do you guys get from your friends, like because you guys are all cool and now you're in a band and all of this kind of stuff?
If anything, it's because we're always busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
No,
think for the most part, we are each other's like closest
Yeah,
friends. Like we all have like a few like friends like,
like
outside
one.
of Yeah. We all like have like we're not part of like big friend groups. We just have like we're all people who are like, yeah, I just need like a few like close friends, you know?
Yeah.
And we kind of are each other's close friends. So
So
it kind of works
it
out.
kind of it's chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that is great to hear because that's how a band stays together and that's how a band becomes successful. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to talk to me today. It was an absolute pleasure. I feel like I just went through a roller coaster ride because there was so many highs and then there was that low of figuring it out. June 14th, God damn it, I'm not gonna be in Toronto. I would love to come and see you guys. You don't understand how bummed out I am right now. I'm super bummed out
You'll be in
because
Iceland, and that's wonderful. You'll be in Iceland.
I know I'm actually going there for a friend's birthday, and there's a bunch of bands playing because she manages a bunch of bands. So she's getting all of her bands to play for her birthday party which is kind of cool. Like I mean, so that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. But still, like I've seen all of those bands a million times already. I've never seen you guys. I
Well,
would be really,
we will definitely be back.
We
We will
will.
Yeah, we
definitely
will.
be back.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we pinky
Please, like,
promise.
yeah, let's do a pinky
Promise.
promise here. Like, no pinky
Yes.
promise. Please be back to Toronto. I know Vancouver is far away, and I know probably you guys are thinking that people in Toronto are a bunch of idiots because we think we're the center of the universe as far as Canada is concerned. I know sometimes I think that myself. I think Toronto is the shiznit, but there's love for Vancouver in Toronto. So please come back to Toronto, and it'll be nothing but love here for you guys.
Playing into the stereotypes of the
Yeah,
city.
I mean.
That's
Well, I love that you're from Canada, so you know all the different
you know.
stereotypes.
Made me so happy when you said fellow Canucks.
Yeah, I
I
was
was
like,
like,
Yeah. I'm in Toronto. I'm in the T dot or whatever they call it these days. The six. Whatever the youth of today is calling it. That's where I'm at. And like I said, the scene here is perhaps not as vibrant as the scene is on the West Coast because there's so many great bands coming off of the West Coast. I know Unleash the Archers, obviously Spirit Box. Like there's so many great bands coming out of the West Coast. We here are struggling a little bit, different kind of scene, if you will. But I think you guys are gonna have a great time in Toronto performing on June 14th. And I'll be there in spirit. How's that? I'll be there in spirit.
sounds good.
All right.
thank you.
Guys,
Thank you
thank you
so
very
much.
much for your time. Once again, the EP comes out June 18th. The Red Garden comes out June 18th, so keep that date in mind. I'll post the links to all of your social networks in the description of this video so people can go check you guys out. I highly recommend everybody start off by watching that VHS music video because that
That's a great
one
introduction.
that shit sells you like immediately on it, and then you can dive deep into the rest of the stuff that you guys have done, especially for those like me that are huge Ice Nine Kills fans. You have to kind of watch that video because that video is just like really well done. So congrats, guys. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
so
having
much. This was
us.
so fun.
thank
Yes,
you.
have
Thank
fun in
you.
Iceland.